Good morning students. Today we are going to start with the very first chapter of your 12th standard biology syllabus, reproduction in lower and higher plants. So before starting with the chapter, the first question that arises is why is plant being considered as lower plants and higher plants? What are lower plants and what are higher plants? So for this it is very simple. The plants with the simplest of characters, the plants which are most primitive in nature, especially the ones without the vascular bundles, are called as lower plants. And the plants which form larger group, the plants that are also known as land plants and they have a lignified tissue for conduction of water and minerals, are called as higher plants. So in this chapter we are going to study the both asexual as well as the sexual mode of reproduction for both these two categories of the plants. So let's get started with this chapter. Okay, so the chapter that we are starting with is reproduction in lower and higher plants. So students, what is reproduction? Reproduction, it is considered to be one of the most important stage of the life processes. It is a process of producing young ones or the offsprings which have very similar characters to their parents in terms of genetic characters and morphological characters. Now it is considered to be one of the most essential process. Why? Because it helps in maintaining the species and it is also responsible for maintaining the continuity of life on earth. Now every organism, they have their own way of reproduction. But whatever way they use, they generally fall into the two categories. Either it is asexual reproduction or it is sexual reproduction. Starting with the asexual reproduction, what does it mean? Asexual reproduction, it means when the reproduction takes place from a single parent. Only one organism is involved in this type of reproduction. There is no fusion of two gametes or sex cells. Now one more thing we need to understand and we need to keep in mind is if an organism is reproducing asexually, that is only a single organism is involved in reproduction, the division that takes place is mitotic division only. This mitotic division results into the production of daughter cells that looks exactly similar to the parent cell and therefore they result into genetically identical progeny. Now what is progeny? I have given it separately over here below. Progeny, it is a scientific term that is used for the young ones or the offsprings of animals and plants. So genetically, if a parent cell produces exact similar offsprings, we use the term clones. What are clones now? An exact copy of the plants and animals. This exact copy is on the basis of both the morphological character and the genetic character. And these exact copies are produced from one of its cell. So these are known as clones. To study asexual reproduction in further details, let us see different modes of asexual reproduction. The first mode of asexual reproduction that we are studying is fragmentation. Now students, you must be knowing what is fragmentation. Fragmentation is the process when something breaks down into pieces. It is a process of breaking down things into pieces. The example that we use to study fragmentation is Spirogyra. Now what is Spirogyra? Spirogyra is a green algae. You can see a microscopic view of Spirogyra over here. This is how it looks like when you view it under the microscope. Here if you see the diagrammatic view, you can observe that this Spirogyra, it is multicellular in nature. It has multiple cells and each cell is divided by a septa in between. Here you can see a detailed diagram of the cell. This is a single cell where you can see a nucleus of the cell, you can see the cell wall, you can see a mucilaginous sheet that is covering the cell. Of course, there are other cell organelles also. Now coming to its reproduction, when this filament wants to reproduce, they just break through the septa. As it breaks through the septa, they are divided into some larger fragments and some smaller fragments. These larger and smaller fragments, on further maturity, on further favorable condition, they are capable enough to produce a whole organism, or rather you can say the whole filament. And this is how the reproduction process in Spirogyra takes place. The next mode of asexual reproduction that we are studying is budding. Now this is the most common asexual reproduction that takes place, and the example that we are using is yeast. Now students, you must have heard about yeast granules, or you must have seen yeast granules that is used for the production of various bakery and dairy products. Yeast, it works as a serving agent in the process of fermentation for these products. How does this work? The reproduction in yeast, it takes place in favorable condition. Favorable condition means proper nourishment and proper environmental condition. So when the condition is favorable, these yeast cells, it produces buds. Here in the diagrammatic view you can see the chain of the buds which is attached to the outer surface, or you can say the outer body of the yeast cells. These buds are attached until it reaches the stage of maturity. When it reaches the stage of maturity, it just detaches itself from the parent cell, and now they act as a individual independent cell which on further favorable condition and further maturity can carry out the same process of budding and reproduce further. So here in the process of fermentation, the favorable condition is the sugar in the flour. The sugar in the flour, it acts as a nourishment and it helps to expel carbon dioxide, which in turn makes the dough to rise, and that is how the bread is made fluffy. So this was the process of budding in yeast. The next one that we are going to study is spore formation. Now the spores are of various types. The most common that is seen is zoospore, which is seen in Chlamydomonas. Zoospores are motile and they have normally flagella for movement. As you can see here in the diagram, this is two flagella. This is the microscopic view of Chlamydomona. In Chlamydomona, the zoospores are biflagellate, and because they are motile and they are spores, they are called as zoospores. Chlamydomona, in favorable condition, they produce zoospores. But before undergoing the reproduction stage, the first thing that happens is the flagella is withdrawn, the contractile vacuoles are dissolved, and that is when this pyrenoid cell, it undergoes division. The division that takes place, as you can see here in the cycle, the division that takes place is the mitosis, again the mitotic division. By this mitotic division, the pyrenoid cell divides 2 to 4 times and it produces these zoospores which are inside the body of the organism. Once the body of the organism ruptures, these zoospores, they come out and they live independently as a haploid organism which further on favorable condition carry out the same process. The fourth mode of asexual reproduction that we are studying is binary fission. Fission basically means splitting down into two parent cells or breaking or dividing. And when the word binary is given, it is considered to be division in two, dividing into two. So that is how binary fission. This is seen in amoeba and in paramecium. Here in fission, the splitting that happens from the parent cell is dividing into two daughter cells, and these two daughter cells further give rise to more number of cells. One more thing we need to consider in binary fission, that it is immortal. Why do we use the term immortal? As you can see in this diagrammatic view, here the parent cell is dividing mitotically. First the nucleus is divided mitotically carrying the cytoplasma division. This division then gives rise to two new daughter cells in amoeba, and now these two daughter cells on further maturity and favorable condition gives rise to two more daughter cells individually. So where is death? There is no death, and that is how it is considered to be immortal in nature. Here you can see the division in the microscopic view also, where the nucleus is already divided, the cytoplasm is dividing, and here the two daughter cells have been already divided. The last one that we are studying is gemule formation, where the buds are formed inside the organism's body. Here you can see the buds which are formed in the inner lining of the organism's body. It is seen in sponges and it is called as gemule formation. As you can see here in the diagram, the bud-like structures which are grown in the inner body wall of the sponges. When these buds are completely formed and they are ready to come out, they just come out from this opening which is here at the top, which is called osculum. As it comes out, it gets attaches to the substratum. Now here you can see this is a clear diagram of the TS of a single gemule, where you can see a central mass of the cell, and you can see it is covered by a mucilaginous sheet. In these mucilaginous sheet you can see spicules. Now these spicules are endoskeletal structures which are performing the function of protection, and this micropylar end, the micropylar part, this is the part that attaches to the substratum, and this can give rise to the whole body of the sponge again. Next is vegetative reproduction. Now vegetative reproduction, this is a next form, or you can say the next part of asexual reproduction. This is the form of asexual reproduction where the new plant that is produced is from the fragment of a single parent plant, or you can take any specialized reproductive organ. This is an artificial method to propagate the desired varieties of plant to fulfill the human requirement. Vegetative propagation, it is one of the most common method which is used in the field of agriculture and horticulture. It is used to grow plants of desired traits. Traits means desired characters. Now suppose if a farmer wants to grow a species of mangifera, that is mango, with a particular size of the fruit. So here the particular fruit size becomes the desirable trait for the farmer. And now the farmer can reproduce the same trait in number of times as long as the growing condition for the particular trait is similar. So this method is especially important for the commercial growers who want to reproduce the highest quality of plants, ensuring the consistency in their variety of crops or the plants for their sale. So there are three types of vegetative propagation that we need to study. Let us study each one of them in a little detail. The first is the cutting method. This cutting method is further divided into three parts, that is stem cutting, leaf cutting and the root cutting. Starting with the stem cutting, this is done in mainly the ornamental plants such as rose and bougainvillea. These ornamental plants, how do they propagate the stem cutting? It is very simple. They take any one of the stem of the plant that is to be propagated. The only thing that is to be taken care of over here is the stem that you take should have multiple buds that can give rise to the further leaf and the branches and the flowers. They put the rooting hormones on the bottom of the stem and they just put it in the soil and let it grow further. The next is the leaf cutting. Now this is the simplest form of cutting method which is used in Sansevieria, or it is also called mother-in-law's plant, or it is also having a name, the common name is snake plant. Now the only thing that we need to take care over here is to know the bottom part of the leaf and the upper part of the leaf. They just detach the small bud leaf from the parent and they put it in the soil. The bottom parts goes to the soil and the above parts remain above. And after some times the leaf that was taken, it gives rise to a complete individual plant. The third one in cutting method is root cutting, which is used for the propagation of blackberry. So as you can see here, this is an older stem which is having multiple buds, and from one of its bud there is a growth of a radicle and the plumule. This radicle and plumule further gives rise to the shoot and the root, and once it gives rise to this root and the shoot, it is detached from the parent stem, you can say, and it is planted separately, and that is how the blackberry is propagated by root cutting method. The next one in vegetative propagation is grafting method. In this method of grafting, the stem that contains more than one bud or multiple bud is taken, it is called the scion, and it is joined to the rooted plant. As you can see this is the scion and this is the rooted stalk. It is attached in this jigsaw manner pattern, and it is then it is applied some growing hormones on it, and then it is tied in this manner. So after a certain period of time, you can see this is how the stalk and the scion is attached to each other, and the desirable trait of the plant is carried forward. This is used in apple tree, in rose, etc. Here you can see in this picture, you can see this is a completely grown tree which is having a scar of this grafting method. So this was being propagated by grafting method. The next one that we are studying in vegetative propagation is plant tissue culture or tissue culture method. Here, whatever the bud, whatever the desired tissue you want to take, it is just scraped off from the parent plant, and this tissue sample is placed into an agar growing medium containing nutrients. Now what is an agar growing medium? As you can see here in this petri plate, there are some plantlets that are growing. The agar is a gelatinous medium that is containing all the nutrients for the plants to grow. The sample is developed into these tiny plantlets. As you can see here, it is bottled into an agar medium again, and it is grown into small saplings. Here you can see a complete lab that is having this tissue culture method plants. Once they are grown, these plantlets are then transferred into this compost, and it is being sold to the farmers for further growing in the field. So students, this was all about the asexual reproduction that we needed to study. In the next video, we will be talking about the sexual reproduction in plants.